Hi there, this is the Your Take Show and my name is Amanda. I am a nutritionist, and what we do here is we are talking food. But we're not just talking food to excite our taste buds, we're talking food to actually excite our inner bodies and get us healthy. So this is what the show is about. If you're new here, be sure that you're going to leave here a changed person, because we have to change our eating habits. We have to be better at how we eat. We have to do that for not just for us, but even for the generations that are coming after us. So this is what we do here. We talk about anything and everything food. I'm so delighted to have you here. I'm actually more humbled to have you here. Thank you so much for tuning into Magic One. Now, what we do here is start off with the first segment, which is the food throne. I know you're seeing a plant here and wondering if it's Christmas time and we're looking out for Christmas alternatives. No, that's not what we're doing. We're actually talking about a food, and in this case this is lettuce. Yes, this is a plant because this is where I actually harvest my lettuce from in the house and just take it to the kitchen and eat it up or chop it up before I can eat it. So what's the importance of lettuce? Is it important, or it's just supposed to be a flower at home, you know, look like a flower? Well, lettuce is really important because it has a high fiber content, and that is what lets food move smoothly in our guts or in our stomachs as digestion is going on. It also helps us to feel full for longer, so you don't end up overeating. Sometimes we eat because, you know, there's just that excitement, you know, if you are hungry, you are constantly hungry, and that hunger hormone is, you know, just all over the place. So you end up eating and eating uncontrollably, or even really getting to the point of gluttony. So if you want to keep yourself full for longer, lettuce is one of those ways to do that. This lettuce can be eaten raw, by the way. You don't need to cook it. So it also means that most of its nutrients are kept intact and you don't lose much of it from, you know, the lettuce. So that's another way to make sure that you're benefiting the most out of your food and your diet. Lettuce also will give you a lot of vitamins, like vitamin E, you know, like vitamin C, like vitamin A. So you might want to have lettuce because all those are great for your skin, all those are great for your hair, you know, just to make sure that your hair is growing well, it's not falling off, you know, so soon. Also to make sure that, you know, your inner system is actually able to fight disease and fight off, you know, these simple infections. Not just anything that comes is going to, you know, throw you down. So you definitely need to add lettuce into your diet. There's so many varieties. There's iceberg lettuce, there's this kind of lettuce, there's the purple lettuce of this particular type. So there's so much out there that you can play with. It's great for salads, it's great for, you know, if you want to add it to some soups. I mean, lettuce, there's no limit to how you can play around with it. Put it in your pastries, put it in your sandwich, anywhere you can be able to use it. And it's so easy, so quick to cook. So lettuce is something we should add into our diets. Please don't forget to, next time you see it in the supermarkets or in the market, don't forget to pick yourself some and pick some for your family, because you will be doing them a great service. Now we're going to head into our discussion room where we discuss what you are asking, and I'll also be letting you know how you can actually connect with us and send in your inquiries. We are now in the discussion room. Yes, as simple as this. We're just in that state of mind where we discuss things. So we're going to get into our questions, but before that, let me let you know of the social media platforms you can actually connect with me on. You know, send in your questions if you do have one that are food related, nutrition related. Send in feedback, you know, send in proposals of partnership or whatever it is. As long as it's nutrition based and health based, I'm your go-to person. All right, so here's the first one. On Instagram, you can actually follow me under the food handle, Food Witness. On YouTube, I do have a YouTube channel. I'm posting content there all the while. The YouTube channel name is Amanda Twewaze Nutritionist. On WhatsApp, yes, you can actually send in your inquiries, and I'll be sure to respond when I do get the time. The number is 0782152610. We also do have a Facebook page. Now, this one is also important because here on the show, we are doing a recap of the lessons we learned from your questions that you actually send in. But on the Facebook page is where we put detailed responses, you know, your questions. There's detailed information on your questions down on the Facebook page. So if you want to benefit the most, yes, you can watch this show every single week, but you also want to go down to the Facebook page and follow and like, you know, and get acting and interacting with the others. The Facebook page name is Amanda Twebaze-Nutritionist. Let's head into our questions now. Our first question is coming in from an anonymous person who says, some people say raw tomatoes are not good. Is that true? Well, our concern most of the times with raw tomatoes is they're on the peels. There is residue of these pesticides, artificial chemicals that they use while they are nurturing these crops, and so you don't want to be ingesting those, or you want to reduce the amount you're ingesting, and one way to do that is peel the tomato so that you are having the insides actually that have less of those residues on them. You also want to wash your tomatoes very, very well. Some people will use vinegar, which is a great way to do that. Some others use bicarbonate, baking soda to clean up their tomatoes. Others just run them through water, very thoroughly, but you want to make sure that you're reducing the risk of ingesting all these chemicals, because that is the source of disease, inflammation, cancers, heart diseases, diabetes, so many of these other diseases that you can actually avoid. So yeah, that could be a concern, but otherwise raw tomatoes are great because their nutrients are intact, just like we talked about the lettuce. So you have lots more vitamin C, you have vitamin A, you have very important pigments in tomatoes like lycopene, which are also very protective for us. So having raw tomatoes is great. All you have to do is sometimes have them raw, other times have them cooked, just alternate. Don't stick to one thing at any one point in time, just alternate these foods and these ways of using these foods, and you'll be benefiting the most from your diet. I hope that answers you, Mr. Anonymous person. Let's now head into our second question coming in from Kane Mukama Surprise. Now he asks, I feel too much stomach pain. What could be the problem? Now, this is also a very broad question. I feel like you should have gone to the doctor to ask this as well. But, that's one thing. You actually should go to the doctors and find out if there's anything that actually is underlying, like a disease or an illness or a syndrome. You never know what it is, or just a health condition. But here's one way that you can also help yourself, even at home, is try and observe, on top of this stomach pain, what are the other symptoms or signs that you see or feel in combination to this stomach pain, because pairing those up may help you find out where the problem is coming from. Say if you have stomach pain but you also do have diarrhea, you might want to check what you're actually ingesting. Is it too much fiber at one point? If you maybe have bloating and stomach pain, is it that you are having foods that are not properly cooked that are bringing on this bloating, or foods that have so much fat in them? So you might want to figure out or observe, or even write down. Having a diary or a journal that just helps you keep track of what actually happens when you eat particular foods will help you understand probably where this stomach pain is coming from. Is it ulcers and you're seeing maybe blood in your stool as well? There could be something, perforations on your stomach lining. So you want to just check what are the other signs and symptoms that are happening or you're feeling and seeing in combination to this stomach pain, to kind of point you or guide you onto what could actually be the problem. I hope that helps you, Kaine Mukama. Let's go into our third question coming in from Shamo Shamo. Shamo Shamo asks, my stomach pains if I eat foods like cassava and katogo. So he's wondering what that's about. Well, these organic foods are really great, natural foods are really good, but to be honest, they also do have, and they do provide us with nutrients. Nutrients are supposed to fuel our bodies to be able to function, develop, and grow, to their best potential. But there's also other things that inhibit that best potential, and they're also present in these plant-based foods. And those we call anti-nutrients. Anti because they work in the opposite, in the reverse of what nutrients actually do for us. They actually inhibit, maybe digestion or inhibit absorption of particular nutrients, and so you don't get the most out of what you're eating. Or sometimes you actually end up feeling or the manifest of some of these signs and symptoms, like you were saying, stomach pain. Others will feel so gassy, others will feel, irritated. There's that irritability. Others will feel so uncomfortable, others will have not much sleep. So these anti-nutrients present in these foods could be causing that as well. In cassava could be causing that. So you might want to make sure that when you're preparing your cassava before you eat it, cook it well. If you're the type that eats raw cassava, please just quit that habit, because then you are ingesting all these anti-nutrients in their full form. You know, they have not been degraded or, you know, destroyed to any level at that point. So peel your cassava, you know, cook it well. Also, soaking is a really great way to kind of, you know, reduce on this amount of anti-nutrients that we find in these foods. What else? Yeah, there is soaking, there is peeling, there is cooking, and also even sprouting for some of these, you know, legumes, and say things like beans and peas. You could sprout them, and that would really help you cut down on these anti-nutrients that actually, you know, are good for the plant because they protect them from predators, but for us, they actually, you know, just cause uncomfortable signs and symptoms in our bodies. So yeah, think about that and try working on those before you get to complain so much, and see how that helps you. Now let's go into our fourth question. So before our fourth question, I just have to take a little break because the name of the person that asked this fourth question is very complicated. I'm going to try and spell it out, but yeah, it's Lungu Chimbeleko Chisomo. That's the person that asked this fourth question. Now he's asking, what's the best food for pregnant women? We'll put that definitely in detail on the Facebook page. But here's the thing, or here's a lesson that you can take with you from this show, that when you're feeding pregnant women, it's important that you add variety. Like, you cannot just be having potatoes and yam. You need to have, you know, coyote, you need to have pumpkin, you need to have yam, you need to have all these different foods. But even as you do that, please be careful to avoid raw foods, because unless it's going to be, you know, the vegetables, which are thoroughly cleaned, but if not that, avoid other raw foods. We have so many raw foods that people have. For example, Viennas and Frankfurters can be eaten raw, you know, salamis are eaten raw. You have things like fish, sushi, you know, raw fish that is eaten raw. So you might want to avoid having those because you could, you know, actually give your unborn child the risk of getting infections or diseases from very infectious organisms, say like the salmonellas of this world, E. coli, and you really don't want that to be happening. At that point, you're really trying to protect your child to develop without any infections as much as possible, so that there's no defects and all this and that at the end of the day when they are born, or even affecting, you know, how well the pregnancy goes. So just avoid raw foods if you can, unless it is, you know, our vegetables. Also, you want to avoid herbs and spices, you know, too much of that. So eat foods that are basically bland, because most of these herbs and spices are not vegetables, but the herbs and spices are, you know, very detrimental to development and health of unborn babies and fetuses and fetus as they are actually developing. So you might want to avoid those, you know, say things like maybe thyme, you know, say things like anise, say things like cloves. You know, you just want to keep the herbs at a minimum. The ones that I know that you can use that are safe is ginger. That's okay, and it's very commonly used. You could also use cinnamon, but also use them to, you know, very low quantities. That's all I can tell you. Let's head into our last question of this discussion room. The last question is coming in from Alona Ramona, and she asks, what can I use for facial pimples? Now, facial pimples is a common question. Just remember that when we're dealing with those kinds of breakouts, we are dealing with inflammation. So if you eat food that actually fights or prevents inflammation, then you might be going really big strides in trying to avoid these breakouts in the first place, or making them not as bad as they were. And it's not going to happen, you know, quickly. It's going to happen over time. So continue to feed your body with these nutrients that fight inflammation. And some of these are from our vegetables. You know, there's lots of vitamins in there. You need berries because there's lots of antioxidants in there. All those fight inflammation. So try and avoid just having foods that, or meals that are packed with oil and masavu, and, you know, try and flip it this time and have more vegetable, you know, have more colored foods, you know, have more plant foods, because that would really help to increase your your intake of these anti-inflammatory foods, and that will directly also help you with, you know, just working on your skin at its pace to actually get rid of this inflammation that really disturbs you. I hope that helps you, Ramona. Thank you so much, everyone that asked your questions this week. If you do have feedback, continue to send that in. I will be going now into the take of the week and see which opinion counted the most this week. This take of the week is coming in from Aguela Kwap Amongin Dorothy. This is a very inspiring one, so get ready to be inspired, everyone. On the Facebook page, we actually asked, what inspires you to do what you do today? Because I was also asked what inspired me to be a nutritionist, and I gave my points. You know, it was my mother, it was my dad, it was also my FN teacher who was very hardcore on me and, you know, just made me who I am today, and I thank all of them. So I you know, tossed the question also to the partakers in the community on the Facebook page. By the way, the Facebook page is Amanda Tweva Nutritionist, so head down there, do like the page, and, you know, follow the proceedings that go on there. But so this is what Dorothy had to tell us about her story and what actually inspires her to do what she does today. She says, I went through a tough phase at some point in my life, and this happened when I was still a little girl. So to develop a resilient heart, I started talking to myself and doing self-counseling. I learned how to cope with whatever issue I was going through, to everyone's surprise. So friends would come up to me with similar problems or even worse issues and seek for advice on how to go about them. And I would talk to them, and eventually things would work out. So when I was applying for courses on the form, my friend told me, hey, include guidance and counseling. You're such a good counselor, Doro. I really didn't want to include it, but life has a way of presenting things to us. Here I am now, proud counselor, talking to people day in and day out. Isn't that such a beautiful story? Like, you just never know where the inspiration will come from. And for her, it started by her unfortunately going through a very tough phase, but then it brought out the strong in her, you know, and she got to become the counselor that she is today. So she was being prepared for her journey, and I think all of us, wherever we are, it doesn't matter if you're the person, the market woman that supplies us with food, you inspire us, because without you, we wouldn't get the food that actually contributes to our health and grows our children, you know, and just makes this world a better place. It doesn't matter if you're the cleaner in the organization you work in. I mean, those people are healthy because you are there. Imagine if you did not do the job you did for them, then it would be dirty, it would be, you know, soiled most of the time. And what a terrible world that would be. I mean, even focusing would not be easy. It doesn't matter if you're a teacher. I mean, you nurture us to get to grow to be the people that we are. You work with our brains, you know, so we totally appreciate you wherever you are, whatever you do, as long as it's for the greater good of this world and leaving this world a better place. You definitely inspire us. You can let me know what inspires you to do what you do today in my WhatsApp or my social media platforms. You know, head down to my WhatsApp and do send me that feedback. The WhatsApp number is 0782 152610. Instagram, my handle is Food Witness. So, you know, head down there and just let us know, because we really appreciate you for whatever you do. Okay, so that was the take of the week. Thank you so much, Dorothy. Now I'm going to leave you with a wellness quote, because the show is ending. Of course, it's always sad, but it's also a great thing, because it means we have gotten to spend some, you know, 15 minutes together, and we can't wait for the next week. So the wellness quote today comes in from, actually it doesn't have anyone it's coming in from. It says, the right motivation tools will fuel a healthy journey. So most times we think if you're to go on a healthy journey or a wellness journey or a diet journey, you just have to, you know, put yourself in the right mind. There's no other way. It's like school. You just have to do it. You just have to do it. Yes, you have to do it, but the reality of this is most times or sometimes you will not be motivated to do what you need to do. You will not have that drive to, you know, just go another day and just eat another healthy meal and work out that day. So when those times come, you need to remember that, you know, you have to have motivation tools. You need a little help from somewhere here and there. I am actually putting on my motivation tool right now. This bracelet is a reminder bracelet. It's one of the products that I've actually launched on my, you know, motivation line. So this is what I use to just remind me. Today it's telling me, am I making it simple enough to sustain? Like what I'm trying to do, say my workouts, because that's what I'm focusing on right now. Am I making my workouts simple enough for me to be able to sustain them, or able to contain them in my daily schedule? So have the right motivation tools. By the way, if you do want one of these, hit me up, because I am actually selling these on my motivation line. Anyway, so yeah, if you have the right motivation tools, they will definitely help you to keep going. That drive will always be there. You'll not be worried about losing it along the way, because you are trying to do everything all by yourself. Remember that we all need a little help, so don't be ashamed, don't be shy to get motivation tools. It could be that nice picture of the person you want to follow, or the person that you actually are is your role model. It could be anything really. So that really is it for this week. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Magic One again. We always air at 6 p.m. on Sundays for this particular show, and on Mondays at 10:45 a.m. I'm so glad you made it. See you next week. Bye.